Hello everyone, welcome you. And this particular class is devoted for the interview and the questions related to interview. And it means what type of question can be asked from PSIR. As far as the options are concerned, let us discuss about the basic idea for political science and international relations, that is related to optionals, and what kind of questions we can expect from our board members in the interview room. So let us see first. It is a questions related to DAF. First question related to DAF, and that is a first name of a candidate. If it is very much similar to a political personality, a name of a candidate which is very familiar with a political personality, there may be a chance of question. And then the date of birth. Date of birth means the political importance of that year. Political importance of that year. And then in the case district, imagine if somebody born in the year 1975, then we can expect the question from emergency, because 1975 is landmark in the context of a national emergency. In that context, if somebody is residing from any district where a very known politician is there, right, from, it may be from good reason, it may be from bad reason too, like Nitin Gadkari from Nagpur. Similar, see what happens, a person, history seater, so many history seaters are there, they are belonging to any particular district, then examiner can ask even the question in a negative sense too. Then it may be the state. Once we discuss about the DAF, so what question you can imagine from the political science, the name of candidate, then state. State means politics of UP. If somebody is coming from Telangana, then obviously there is a politics of Telangana. If somebody is coming from Andhra Pradesh, so particularly issue of formation of capital, then there may be question over a specific role of a regional party, national party, one nation, one election, whether one nation, one election is harmful for a smaller state, for regional political parties. These are questions you can expect from DAF. Then dividing political science in the multi-part part, like first, political thinkers. Now we want to discuss over the sub-political thinkers, because we can identify, we can divide our syllabus in the multiple section. This is the question what we are imagining from, what we are assuming from DAF. And apart from that, there are multiple questions that may be from thinkers, right from Plato to Marx. The question may not be from your thinkers which is particularly mentioned in your syllabus, because some thinkers are very known, they're very, very well known, because some thinkers like Rawls may not be mentioned in your syllabus. There may be question like Mahatma Gandhi is obvious, Plato to Marx, that is very much written in your syllabus, and thereafter Vivekanand, that is not specifically mentioned in your syllabus, but because of the personality, because if somebody is facing interview on 23rd January, obviously there may be a question from Vivekanand, because 23rd January is the birthday of Vivekanand. Or if somebody is facing interview on the occasion when there is a birthday of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, so you can be aware of that personality, because we belong to the, we are from the PSIR optional. So in thinkers, we should be very much aware of the thinkers which are falling on your particular date on which interview is held. इसका ये भी मतलब हो गया from Rawls, it means from Bentham. Bentham may not be in your syllabus, but because of maximum happiness of maximum number. Kautilya is very well known for the international relations. So you can be very clear about thinkers, and most importantly, in case of thinkers, if examiner asking that which thinker is the best for you, You can choose any. Again, I am saying that don't follow the mob, because there is a multiple types of personality. Even you can say Netaji was also leader, because entire interview is running for checking the personality test. So we don't have any objective criteria to judge that what is the idea of good personality. It depends on person to person. Mahatma Gandhi was also good personality. Netaji Subhashan was also best. Therefore, these are two different yardstick, and that is the reason every individual, every candidate is having some specific qualities. So never run behind Mahatma Gandhi or any particular thinker because somebody is suggesting. Why? Because if you are saying that Mahatma Gandhi is our favorite scholar, favorite thinker, but later, if examiner asking that what kind of solution you are giving for solving the problem of Naxalism, then suddenly you will feel that I am feeling blank. And that is a paradox. That is appears in your personality. Because why? Because you are not choosing any thinker on your own. Rather than you are thinking, because somebody is saying that you should choose this thinker, you are going behind that. That's not a good idea. Even if you look, if examiner asking that, can you tell what is a brief of Plato? So never run behind the copy cut paste. How you can speak about a layman language, because may not be a professor of political science, everybody is knowing Plato. So they may not be a professor of political science. So just try to tell somebody, if they are asking that what is the essence of Plato, so what you will say? Justice. How you want to make a just society, number one. And this just society we can obtain through education, number two. Third, even integrity of individuals is more important than material prosperity. How we can run our society through power? No, through justice. Not through power, not through pleasure, through justice. Justice is the first principle of best society, and the moral development is the essence to be human. So let us try and tell the ideas of Plato in layman's language. Thereafter, you are knowing that what Plato means. If you want to discuss what is very particular about Plato, so that is not at all expected, at least in interview. And let us see, if they're asking that, tell me something about Bentham. So just you can tell them Bentham means reformist first, liberal second, third. Even he is coming with different ethics, different from Kant. And what is different from Kant? It is a pleasure is ultimate goal of life. And last, government, state, every kind of mechanism, every kind of a principle of society should be reframed on the basis of idea of pleasure and pain. That is the 5 points of Bentham. So once in interview, you have to tell everything in a bullet form. Precisely. If they are entering into debate and discussion, then you can tell about debate and discussion. Otherwise, let us see. Even you can choose marks, because so many people suggest that Locke is the best. It is you will decide which one is best for you. Even what I am suggesting, you can pick Marx. Why you can choose Marx? You should not defend Marx on the ground of revolution, on the ground of violence, on the ground of theoretical principle. If examiner asking that, what is the essence of Marx? Do not indulge into theoretical question, dialectical materialism, historical materialism. No. Because examiner, if they have even read out the political science, it is a ego, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So they are forgetting the theoretical terms. But they are very much known the philosophy of Marx in layman. And why Marx is very important? Because for Marx, it is economy which is the primary factor which determine our society, political system, life. That is Marx first. Even Marx is opposite to Bentham. Then why Marx is very important? He believes in radical change. Again, I am underlining the term radical change. Terms are very important. Radical change. Why Marx is important? Because what he said that society cannot be divided on the ethnic lines, like caste, religion, caste, language. It is based on economy and economy. And see why Marx is one of the greatest moral thinker ever born. Because Marx is fighting against poverty, inequality. Therefore, we can justify Marx on these grounds. It means any thinker which you are choosing, you have to tell idea in a very layman sense. That is difference between writing a mains and appearing in interview. In writing mains, technical terms are important. For writing mains, even these technical terms become very important. But as far as facing the interview, what is most important? How you are expressing, how you are trying to tell the thinker in a layman's language, and you are associating that thinker with the present context. Then somebody can ask the basic about the, if what is the basic idea of materialism, what is the difference between materialism and what is the difference between idealism. These are some basic terms. If you are reading out the political thinkers, what is materialism, what is idealism, and then see who is a radical, who is a pragmatic, who is adopting a middle path. These are basic terms. Like who are radical, the thinkers who are adopting the middle path. So materialist means any thinker for whom matter is important, this material world is important. They are denying the existence of this metaphysical world. That is the idea of a materialism. Materialism means basic Charvak philosophy, yava jive sukham jivet, radam kritva ghritam pivet. It means that is the idea of materialism. And see, nobody can be either purely idealist. And what is idealism? The person who is a moral. Ideas are very important. This material world is merely reflection. The world of idea. That is idealism. So who are the thinkers who believe in idealism? Plato, Hegel. They are idealist. And believe me, nobody is only idealist and nobody is only materialist. And what is the best idea? That is a middle path. Middle path is the best idea. Therefore, you see, in case of radical, a radical idea may be very important, like Plato was radical, Marx was radical. But what is the problem? Why we face a problem? Because for applying the thinkers in the real world, you can't become radical. Become extremist is something avoided. Become radical, because radical means the question which is not accepted by the entire society. And once you are opting a middle path and being a bureaucrat, the radical idea may be counterproductive, because Marxism is radical. That is difficult to apply. Even Plato was radical, idealist state. Gandhi was radical, although Gandhi was very unique, radical with pragmatic idea. So therefore, let us you know the basic ideas of these thinkers. And if somebody asks what is the idea of Rawls, then you can tell again in 5 points what Rawls means. First, justice. Second, a kind of combination between what kind of just society you are looking for. First, liberty. Without liberty, we cannot make a just society. And then thereafter, we have to accommodate equality. Welfare is important, but not without right. That is the idea of Rawls. So never try to be complicated. Be straightforward, be to the point in the interviews. And in a case, if they're asking that which thinker you like, so you can tell any thinker. And any thinker you can add with the present context. Because I can tell you, even Plato may be radical, but Plato is also relevant as of now. Why Plato is very much relevant? Because morality is the essence of life first. And without changing mind of the people, we cannot make this world peaceful, because it is not a war. It is a mind which creates a war. Therefore, what is most important for individual? It is the human mind. These are basic terms. See, as far as theory is concerned, see, you have to remember the fact that no ideology is the best in this world. We know postmodernism. The idea of postmodernism refers that no ideology is perfect in this world. Therefore, never be in trap of this. So we have a multiple ideologies. That is first, basics of liberalism. Then it is a socialism. See, you must know about the basic difference between liberalism, socialism, Marxism, feminism, Gandhism. Because being a student of political science, a big examiner is even assuming that basic idea of these ideologies, even environmentalism, Gandhism, So first, the basics of these ideologies, like liberalism means first the ideology which supports liberty, constitutionalism, capitalist economy with rights, democracy. That is liberalism. So you should summarize every ideology in 5 and 6 keywords. And then again, my dear friend, nobody can become either liberal. Every ideology is having their own positive and negative viewpoint. Every ideology may be positive, every ideology may be negative. और आप देखोगे why it's positive and negative, because even liberalism is why liberalism is a positive, because liberty, constitutionalism. While liberalism is having negative impact, because it is somehow promoting the capitalist economy. Nothing is perfect in this world, my dear friend. Perfect is only God, and we are unable to search God. What we are finding out this world, we are in fact living in a defected world. Therefore, we have option to choose less defected rather than searching the perfect. So don't be perfectionist, either in terms of life or in terms of ideology, and never try to tie with any particular ideology. Somebody are very much attached to our Marxism, but you must know the basic fault of Marxism. Therefore, we are not a political activist. We are not a political activist. If somebody want to prepare for civil services, and we must know the drawback of every ideology. What is the drawback of every ideology? Because what is happening in Marxism? What is the problem in Marxism? Radical first. Even that is a reductionist second. They are overlooking the ideas that is away from economy. Time and again they are re-emphasizing about economy and economy. Obviously, even there may be multiple factors for understanding a society, like culture, religion, even ideology. But Marxism and Marx is too much emphasizing our economy, and most importantly, what is there? They want to destroy capitalism. So destruction of capitalism is even beyond imagination. Why we don't believe in reformation of capitalism? Why we don't believe in reformation of capitalism? अब आप देखो, in case if examiner asking that what is the difference between socialism and Marxism, simply Marx is a perfectionist idea. Socialism is a practical form of Marxism. Both believe in economic equality, but Marxists are perfectionists who want to make a society without state and government, and socialists are more pragmatic who want to ensure the economic equality with state and government. तो अब आपको एक हर चीज को, इवन यू मस्ट टेल एवरीथिंग इन अ वेरी बुलेट फॉर्म, इन अ वेरी प्रिसाइज in interview, because they are not listening your context. Once you are saying that, once you are making context, they will skip the interview. They will skip the next question, that please tell next question. Thereafter, feminism, environmentalism, every ideology is having their positive dimension. Why feminism? Because against patriarchy, that's positive. Why what is the problem of feminism? Again, they want to understand every question of segregation, disparity in society through gender. That is again, they are also reductionist like Marx. Therefore, feminism is their own drawback, although they are very much fighting as patriarchy. And obviously environmentalism. Environmentalism is very composite, very comprehensive, which protect environment. But even if you are ignoring the entire society, economy, politics, merely focusing over environment, we cannot live in an environment only, because we have to fulfill our physical needs too. So in that context, do not tie with any particular ideology first, and that is the difference between being a politician and being a bureaucrat. For a civil servant, everything must be chosen on the ground of rationality. If somebody is reasonable, it's okay. If something is emotional, then we can't accept that. Merely because we are loving that is not ground to justify anything. Therefore, as far as the theory is concerned, be pragmatic. Try to analyze the drawback of every ideology and try to understand the essence of that ideology. And once somebody is asking about whether there is a freedom in India, once somebody asking that, will you support a democratic model of India or communist model of China? So remember, always prefer the democratic model. That is sense. If somebody is saying that Chinese model is better for economic development or Indian democratic model, always go in favor of Indian democratic model. Because my dear friend, what is the best idea for democracy? Development. It is not only development with the inclusivity. Inclusion is the essence of development. That is the idea of a democracy. Therefore, let us see in China. China may be developed in terms of economic development, but let us see the Council of Ministers. That is a even the entire idea of a Politburo of China. Even not a single woman representative is there in the China. And here in India, we are providing 1/3 reservation for the women. So truly, democratic system believe in sabka saath sabka vikas, and that is the idea of inclusivity. In that context, you have to support a democratic system, because see what is happening as of now in the world. Because you can obtain welfare through liberty and democracy may not be possible vice versa. We can't go for a rights and liberty while accepting the welfare. See, there is welfare in North Korea, but there is absence of liberty and equality. Liberty and equality is not there in the North Korea, but there's welfare. But in US, in Scandinavian nations, there is liberty, there is rights, and thereafter there is welfare too. So you have to choose that democratic form of government is best, and that is very much realizes in the Constitution of India too. Democracy is best. Why democracy is best? Piecemeal reform first. Why democracy is best? It is better for the maximum happiness of maximum number. Why democracy is best? Because it is protecting the dignity of individual, liberty of individual. And my dear friend, we are not merely an animals. See, fulfilling physical need is a essential, but it is not a sufficient. Therefore, living a life with dignity, living a life with right, that is essence to be human. Therefore, as far as thinkers are concerned, these are basic ideas. And let us see the second part. Indian government and politics, international relation. In most of the cases, your interview should be focused over Indian government and politics and IR. Because see, for asking this theoretical question, somebody should be the professor, somebody should be expert. And what happens in the 99% condition, there may not be expert in the interview board. Everybody is very much aware about the democracy of India, Indian government politics, party system, international relation. What is most significant part of your interview? That is the Indian government and politics and international relations. Let us discuss about Indian government and politics and international relation. The first, it is IGP, Indian government and politics. See, first and foremost, you have to justify, you have to very much aware of the philosophy of Indian Constitution. Remember, how we can divide entire Indian Constitution in the government and politics. First, philosophy of Indian Constitution. And if you want to see the philosophy of Indian Constitution, that is in the preamble. You must know the sequence of preamble. Because this is basic, but that's very important. Even you must know some sort of fundamental rights and DPSP that normally we know. DPSP and fundamental right, like Uniform Civil Code, even is a mention in article. In which article? That is a very interesting question. These are basics, but there may be question that what is the provision of DPSP which tells about international peace. Even you cannot ignore the factual question, informative question from your interview. There may be informative question that who is a father of political science. Even there may be some informative questions too, like what are the basic principle of a fundamental right, and then it is a fundamental duty. My dear friend, as of now, every student should be aware about their fundamental duty. Because what is happening as of now, a very few people, they remember the fundamental duty. Up as it is fundamental duty, that may not be essential, but at least you must know the essence of entire fundamental duty. So first, these are basic, but try to learn that philosophy of Indian Constitution. And see, it is a philosophy. And what is just like a philosophy of individual? Because our constitution is not merely a form of government. Our constitution is not merely supreme law of the land. Our constitution is not merely a legal document which specifies the power of three organs of the government. But you must know that philosophy of Indian Constitution is a very important. What we are going to prefer? The philosophy of Indian Constitution. Let's prefer. So you cannot forget the basics. preamble, fundamental right, and then DPSP. Thereafter, let us see the institutions of Indian government and politics. And what is a institution? That is a president. What is institution? Council of Minister. What is institution? Parliament. Institution, that is judiciary. What is institution? That is it is a Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India. These are most important institutions of our constitution. So anybody who's reading out our constitution, they're very much aware about this institution. So examiner can ask that how president is elected. So what kind of question we are expecting from these Indian government and politics? There may be informative, that what is the formula for how we are knowing about the value of a vote of a MLA in presidential election. That is informative. Every question may be informative, every question may be analytical. And then what is the idea why we are choosing parliamentary form of government over presidential? That is a analytical. Council of Minister, strength of Council of Minister. What is a cabinet minister? So you cannot miss these basic questions. Although you may say it's funny, that question may be so basic, my dear friend. Yes, you should not miss basic. We shouldn't be basic. Thereafter, you can go about the entire idea of what is criteria to become the member of Council of Minister. Don't you think that there is a criminalization of politics, politicization of criminals? So these are the issues. So you cannot ignore issues, and we cannot ignore the facts to information to Parliament. It means what is the first past the post election system. So they are very much aware about the basic idea. What is the first past post election system? How the member of Rajya Sabha are chosen? These are very basic. Anybody can ask this question. And then it is judiciary. Strength of judges. How the strength of judges can be increased. And then what is a analytical question from that section? That's very important. Let us see, from institution there may be some informative question, and there may be some analytical questions, opinion based question. And what is a informative question? As I have told you, that according to which article Uniform Civil Code is there. The Uniform Civil Code is mentioned in which article of the Constitution. Thereafter, then they can ask, are you supporting the idea of Uniform Civil Code for India? And let us see, because the questions which is very much related to the idea of a democracy, because you must remember the philosophy of Indian Constitution. Philosophy of Indian Constitution based on the principle of liberty, equality, fraternity, and that is idea. On that basis, Uniform Civil Code must be there. Because why Uniform Civil Code? Because of liberty. Why Uniform Civil Code? Because of equality between male and female. Why Uniform Civil Code is there, should be there? Because of secularism. Why Uniform Civil Code should be there? Because we are a modern democracy and the identity of individual is more important than religion. But if they are coming with cross question, you can say that problem is with politics, not with Uniform Civil Code. Because politics means every party is looking for, maximizing their vote bank. Political formula is always different. So we are not supposed to be political. And you can tell that there may be the problems which are hindering the idea of a Uniform Civil Code. And what are the obstacles in path of making Uniform Civil Code? Diversity of India, population of SC/ST, religious right is a fundamental right, right of minorities. So you can have a drawback too. But as of now, as a rational person, as a student, you can go in favor of Uniform Civil Code. So even what happens, sometimes we are defending our decision on the basis of decision of Supreme Court. That may not be necessary. Even sometimes we maybe disagree with the decision of Supreme Court. We can't attack over the personal conduct of judges. But because attacking any individual, that is a not good idea. Therefore, what is the analytical? Why we opt for a presidential form of, why we are choosing a parliamentary form of government over presidential? That is the idea of a analysis. Why we are choosing the parliamentary form of government over presidential? What kind of reform you are looking at parliamentary form of government? See, what is the Anti-Defection Act? That is informative. What is Anti-Defection Act? That is informative. And what is whether Panchayati Raj is becoming successful or Panchayati Raj is no longer a success for Indian democracy. So let us see. In some cases, in most of the cases, what happens? Sometime interview board take a wrong step deliberately. So they will say that, don't you think that Panchayati Raj is only the democratization of corruption? Panchayati Raj is the kind of wastage of money. Are you supporting the Panchayati Raj? Yes. You can see, you are supposed to be disagree, but politically, politely, humbly. You must be humble, but you must be firm. You can say, yes, partially, sir, you are right, but because never try to correct your interview board. That is the basic idea. But always try to say that, yes, there are various ideas which are very positive for Panchayati Raj. That is the rural development, participation of women's, even grassroots democracy, and that is the idea of a third tier of democracy. That is very vital. And believe me, because that is ensuring a democracy from bottom to top. Because we became democratic right from commencement of the constitution in 26 January 1950. But as far as the grassroots democracy is concerned, even villagers participated in the entire idea of a democracy because of Panchayati Raj. And because what's happened, you see, in Panchayati Raj, there is no participation of political parties, and that is best part of a democracy. Otherwise, in other part of democracy, parties are becoming more important. In that question, there may be a question about what is the internal democracy? What is the internal democracy in a party? What are challenges of India's democracy? What is the criminalization of politics? What is the politicization of criminals? What is the criminalization of politics? What is the difference between criminalization of politics and politicization of criminals? So these are the analytical question. And what is a further analytical question? That judicial, what is the difference between judicial review and judicial activism? When PIL came, what is the positive point of PIL? What is the negative point of PIL? So there may be a question from judiciary. Informative means number of judges. Informative means what is the writ jurisdiction. Informative means what is 32. These are informative. But analytical means what is the electoral reform? That is analytical. What is the first past the post system? That is the informative. First past the post system. That is the idea of election system. What is a proportionate representation? Whether India should introduce list system of election. These are informative. What should be method of election of president? And why? And what is the difference? What is the difference of a election for a member of a Rajya Sabha, Council of State, and there is also proportionate representation, and how it is different from the election of president, which is also having a proportionate representation. Proportionate representation is both mentioned in the election of Rajya Sabha as well as election of a president. But there is a difference in the proportionate representation, and that is a point. It means you must focus information with analysis. What kind of analysis they can ask, and the question which are very much in the newspaper, and that is the additional point where you have to go for the newspapers. What is the current news, decision of Supreme Court, and some cases are very important. Some questions are very much fixed. Like you must know some question like first, what is the idea of basic structure? What is the idea of basic structure? Why we opt for federal government? What is the idea of federalism? See, these are very basic questions. What is threat for unity and integrity of India? And let us discuss about the current affairs. Why the people of Ladakh, they are demanding for 6th schedule. Why the people of Ladakh, they are demanding for 6th schedule, and why there is a problem in Manipur. These are questions that is related to, see, these are theoretical basic structure. Even Keshwan Bharati case is very renowned, very important. Time and again examiner asks about the question of basic structure. And once you are having the basic structure, see, while answering an interview, don't be technical. Like, don't start with the idea of a Golknath case. Then it is the previous cases. You should very start with the idea that what is basic structure? There is no supremacy of parliament first. So try to say anything in gist. What is basic structure? Parliament is not supreme first. Second, parliament can amend the power. Parliament can amend the constitution, but it should not be arbitrary and supreme. Second. Third, parliament is entitled to amend the constitution, but judiciary is also entitled to keep a judicial review. Judiciary is also entitled to keep judicial review, and that is the reason. What is basic structure? It is establishing the supremacy of the constitution, establishing the constitutionalism, but from negative point of view, somebody can say that no, it is a basic structure if it is promoting the idea of judicial activism, and that is a negative viewpoint of basic structure. And critics says that because of basic structure, even the entire judiciary is preventing hijacking the power of parliament. But answer is no, because of basic structure, even judiciary cannot take away the power of parliament to amend the constitution. Judiciary cannot take away the power of parliament to amend the constitution, but judiciary is involving in principle of check and balances. So there should be check and balance. Therefore, that is the idea of basic structure. And why? Why we are having federalism? Obviously, because we are having federal society, diverse society, even unity in diversity. So thereafter, federal government is there because of philosophy of federalism. Philosophy of federalism is sense. Therefore, if somebody asking that what is your basic characters of your constitution, so do not tell in a very technical sense, bookish sense. And what is the basic feature of constitution? Republic, democratic. Obviously, they can ask a difference between republic and democratic. And what is layman's answer? Republic means it is where president is elected, and democratic means there is election, but without the election of president, head of a state or head of nation. That is a layman's idea. Otherwise, why we use a democratic republic simultaneously? Because democratic means majority government, republican means separation of power. Democracy means supremacy of parliament. Republicanism means it is a check and balance, judicial review, fundamental right. Therefore, republicanism is preferred in US. Democracy is preferred in Britain. Therefore, that is the idea of a republican democratic system. So any basic thing can be asked. There may be analysis, and that is the point. In case of federalism, so obviously, so what is challenge of federalism? Our federalism has always been successful, because in the last 75 years, India has running with one of the vast country, and therefore we are accommodating diversities along with unity. That is the achievement of India. But let us see, what is happening? But there are some repercussions. There are some problems. There's some problem. And what is the problem? Problem is lying in Northeast, problem lying in Kashmir. We still try to resolve those problems. Otherwise, by and large, it has been a finest example of success of Indian democracy. In that case, unity and integrity, what I have told you. So it is unity is a geographical, physical, integrity is psychological. Why we need a sixth schedule? Why people from Kashmir, they're asking for sixth schedule? Obviously, for preserving their land, for preserving their employment, for getting their autonomy, and for somehow indirectly they want to restore the idea of a statehood for Jammu and Kashmir. Even they are also demanding for some economic development. That is the idea of sixth schedule. So once they are asking sixth schedule, never try to indulge in the complexity. Then Manipur, the The problem of Manipur is obviously multiple problems. First, ethnic, number one, lack of economic development, number two, political rivalry, number three. It is a external boundary, number four, because Manipur is very much attached with the boundary of Myanmar, and we cannot ignore the importance of China factor, number five. So try to accommodate the fact in a essence. Try to accommodate the fact with the basic idea. So it means you can go with the Indian government and politics, institutions. These are institutions. The question may be from institution, and thereafter there may be from some political practices. Last, apart from institution, what else they can ask? Philosophy, institution, and then it is a political practices, political processes. What is the political processes? Political process means it is a elections or a kind of a party system, national party, regional party. What is the difference between national party, all India party, and the regional party? Then it is a processes. Whether what is the role of a caste and a religion in Indian politics? What is the role of caste and religion in Indian politics? Do you agree that elections in India has been free and fair? Therefore, question of EBM. Election of India has been free and fair. These are issues related to very much the political processes. Election recently handed any student coming from Maharashtra, Haryana, any student coming from UP, election is likely to held in UP. Therefore, what is the role of caste? What is the role of religion? Then what is the role of a EBM? So you have to defend the idea of EBM, whatever said by the Supreme Court, and what is it technically correct. You should go with that, because we should not trap in the idea of political masters, because we should be away. That is the point. Somebody asked that whether you want to become politician or civil servant. My dear friend, for becoming a civil servant, you must be efficient, rational. But for becoming politician, you have to tie with any particular ideology, any biasness. And remember, never try to undermine the political masters. That's very important. Never say that no, politics is something wrong. My dear friend, it is a political democracy that is essence of our democratic system. So never try to undermine that political masters or politics is something dirty. Never say that. What you can say, it's not my preference. I'm unable to even transact that responsibility. Therefore, I am unable to join the politics, rather than defaming that no, politics is something wrong, because nothing is wrong in this world. Because Mahatma Gandhi was also a politician. Because so many people in India, you can't believe that even majority of the people are good in politics. And once we are entering into politics, somehow we are performing the task which is related to well-being of the community. Therefore, never try to defame the politics. Always try to say that yes, politics is something better, but democracy believe in the citizenry identity. What is the sense of our constitution? Citizens come first. Therefore, caste, religion, that should be relegated in the personal life of individual. Personally, anybody can opt for caste, anybody can opt for religion, because it's conscience of individual. But being a citizen, being a democratic citizen, and what is most important, identity of citizen, and that is the essence of our constitution. Let us see the philosophy of our constitution, recognizing dignity of everyone. Caste, religion, sex, place of birth, these are not ideas where constitution is making any difference to anyone. These are the issues of Indian government and politics. Let us define about the international relation. Last segment one is IR. International relation means first some theoretical basics. What is some theoretical questions? Like, see, what is soft power? These you must know that. What is soft power? What is hard power? What is smart power? What is cultural diplomacy? What is track 1? What is the track 1? What is the track 2? And then See, what is the difference between LAC, LOC? Then what is the idea of a CBM? Then it is a zero sum, non-zero sum. These are basics. See, sometime examiner can also punch shield. What is the basis of NAM? These are basics. 5 principles of peace, that is a punch shield. So these are basics. Every examiner can ask what is realism, and you must know the practice of that. See, once examiner asking interview what is soft power, never try to mention, see, it is a Joseph Nye. Tell something in a very layman sense. That is time again what we are reiterating, the fact that the professor may not be in the interview. If they are present, may not be expert of international relations or political science. They may be expert of any other subject. Otherwise, apart from that expert, every member of the board, they are journalists. Most of the people there, they are the bureaucrats. So that is the point. It is a soft power. Soft power simply means a power that is coming from yoga, power that is coming from culture, power that attract you, and power come from love, not from the coercion. That is the idea of soft power. Therefore, people are attracting for Kumbh, a soft power. So you can give some current example, practical example, rather than taking the all theoretical jargons, and that is not allowed at least interview. Be more soft, more lucid, fluent. Thereafter, what's hard power? So military power. Track 1, it is a diplomacy. See, that is going on between state to state. Formal diplomacy. Diplomacy belong to the even ministers, bureaucrats. Track 2, that is idea of the diplomacy that is involved. See, it is a people who are not the part of a state. Track 2 means it is not people to people contact, people who are knowing the basics of diplomacy, but they are not part of government. They may be retired from government, or like professors, journalists, human rights activists. They are the part of track 2 diplomacy. And see, it is a logical. Track 2 diplomacy is always initiated in case of a crisis between India, Pakistan, India, China, where there is a deep mistrust. See what's happened? Deep mistrust. Therefore, it is LAC between India and China, LOC, India, Pakistan, because LOC is divided by the Shimla Agreement. LAC is a kind of a ceasefire line. Then it is confidence building measure, simple, reducing mistrust because of the cricket, because of economic relation, because of the cultural relation. So multiple mechanism we are opting for having the CBN. Zero sum simply means, see, 100, if we are giving somebody 100 rupees, what we are getting 0. What happens with the Indo-Australia match? So Australians are taking with the series. So Australians are getting some. We are getting 0. Zero sum. And that is point. Zero sum game is a minor idea of explaining international relation, because it is the only explaining of war. The idea of zero sum game can be only applied for the war. But in case of a non-zero sum game, it is win-win condition. So zero sum game का मतलब क्या है? You are preparing for your examination, but ensuring that our partners should not qualify the same. It's zero sum, because your success and the failure of a partner is complementary. Both cannot become successful together. But non-zero sum says that sabka saath sabka vikas. We can become successful, see, collectively. That is the idea of non-zero sum game. Thereafter, other key term you can collect from international relation, like a prisoner's dilemma, or the other ideas like, see, it is a soft power, hard power. So these are the Shimla Agreement. So as of now, there may be the question of Indus River Water Agreement. Then let us discuss about the foreign policy. These are some basics. Realism. What is the pragmatism? What is the pragmatism? Who is a friend? Who is the enemy? And see, what is the informative question? Which country? Let us see the informative question. Which country is the best strategic ally of India? Answer is US. Sometime there may be some questions like, which country is the best strategic ally of India? US. I will give the reason. Never say Russia. Once upon a time, it was Russia. Russia is also very much friend of India. We are having very much strategic partnership with Russia. It's a privileged strategic partnership that we are not denying. But what examiner asking that? Who is the best strategic partners of now of India? That automatically US. Then question come over. See, it is a Punnu. So they can have a cross question. But we can say that, my dear friend, if they are having convergence of relation, it doesn't mean that there is no disagreement. There may be some differences, although disagreement is also a very hard term. What we can appropriately say that the differences rather than disagreement. There may be some differences. And obviously, who is the biggest threat for India's security? China. That is obvious. That is obvious, may not be said diplomatically because of the various factors, but we can say there is no need to be diplomatic always. If examiner asking something, so do not say that Supreme Court say this Supreme Court. You can sometime give the example of Supreme Court, but they are not asking about Supreme Court. It is you sitting next to examiner. An examiner asking question from you. So how you can say it's Supreme Court? That is biggest threat is China, biggest strategic ally is US, and therefore what is the difference between ally, natural ally? Why US is our natural ally? So obviously natural ally means ally where a form of government and people, they're also coming together, therefore at that become natural ally. And ally simply means even common threat. Common threat. What is strategic? What is geopolitics? These are basic terms. Strategic simply means any relation which is strengthening our security. That is strategic. And therefore, strategic may be a complementary relation. In case of a technology too, technology also is strengthening our security. Like we are using the GPS system of US for our military purposes. That is strategic. See, it is the exchange of classified information is strategic. Military is a small part of a strategic. Strategic is very wider term. Even road can also be strategic if it is located along with Indo-China border. Strategic. Even defense equipment may have a strategic importance, just like INS, even Vikramaditya is strategic. Even satellite may have a strategic importance, technology. Even sometime even the petroleum, even refinery may have a strategic importance because they are very much essential for our energy security. Even sometimes geography creates importance, that is strategic. The term is strategic is very wider. So first and foremost, these basic questions are there. And then let us see the series of foreign policy. First, you should focus over neighbors. Neighbors are the first option. And you must know some basic like how many members are there in BIMSTEC, how many members are there in SARC. These basic questions are essential. Who is the Secretary General of UN? Organs of UN. So neighbor means the basics. Maybe the interview of UPSC, but sometimes we were missing basic that, oh my God, how they can ask the question like this. They can ask because they can ask anything. So it is a neighborhood, and you see what is Gujarat doctrine. What is the neighborhood first? That is a factual question. Which neighbor is the closest to us? Obviously Bhutan. Which neighbor is having the strategic rivalry from past? Obviously Pakistan. Which neighbor is having some sort of khatte-meete relation, 50-50? So Nepal, Sri Lanka. As of now, what is happening in Bangladesh? So these are questions, and then they can ask, do you think that now how they can come with the analytical question? How they can come with analytical questions? Analytical question means simply means whether you agree that the foreign policy of India is a failed in case of neighborhood. So that is analytical question. And my dear friend, never criticize any foreign policy. You always believe that once we are making a decision, either in case of Bangladesh or Maldives, see, foreign policy is guided. Once somebody is saying that India's foreign policy became successful, India's foreign policy became failed, see, you can reply not in yes or no, because once we are making a foreign policy, we have to keep in mind first domestic factor, then it's the regional factor, then it's the global factor. These are factors which shape the foreign policy. So once we are See, how we can say that only Indian government, only the foreign minister of India is responsible for what is happening in our neighborhood? That's not true. And as of now, we are very much, see, we are very much putting all stake for the neighborhood. So that is a point. Saying that India's foreign policy has failed, utterly wrong. But there may be some element of truth. That is a way. That is a way in humanities, because we don't have an objective fact. There is a way to look the things, perception. So we can say, yes, sir, there may be a perception. There may be a perception. But what is the regional factor? See how we can disregard the approach of Pakistan, because Pakistan is always try to export the Islamic ideology everywhere in the world, including in Maldives, including in it is in Bangladesh. Then the most important threat we are facing from China. That is the reason how we can disregard Chinese factor. When as of now, because of rise of China, because what happened in Galban. In Galban, first time India's forces stand in front of Chinese. So that is the reason that offended to the prestige of China. Because Chinese are claiming that they are the superpower of the world. But what is happening as of now? India became the first country which is giving the befitting reply. What is giving the befitting reply to China? So that is a point where India, how India can be blamed for the global factors, how India can be blamed for the regional factors. Therefore, saying that everything is happening because of the failure of India's foreign policy may not be correct. But you can say that some suggestion, we can also be ready with some suggestion, because what is happening in the Nepal? Because Nepal's government is now run by the Marxist, Maoist, Leninist. And that is history of Nepal. Once Marxist, Maoist and Leninist came in Nepal, they always adopt India policy. And their basic belief is that Indian government is having the imperialist foreign policy. They are having their basic belief is that Indian government is imperialist, Indian government is a colonial in their nature. That is the crux of the problem. So we can't blame neighbors always. We can't blame India's foreign policy always, and that is the crux, because we don't have any objective criteria to assessing the success of foreign policy or the failure of foreign policy. So first priority should be neighborhood. And see, in case of examiner asking what is India's approach, obviously it's same for everyone. Neighborhood first, giving the economic aid, unilateral concession, connectivity, cultural diplomacy. These are basics what we are looking for our neighborhood. So how we are going to deal with our neighborhood is almost very fixed. Almost very fixed. So that is the first idea, how we are going to deal with neighborhood. And second, once for major power, how India is dealing with major power. For neighborhood first is important. For major power, the policy of multi-alignment. What India should do? Obviously, the policy of multi-alignment. Our approach is to engage in policy of multi-alignment. Multi-alignment simply means balancing a relation between US, Russia. Obviously, try to normalize our partnership with China. And that is a point. Once we are, because India is a big power first, and the basic thing which we cannot disregard, my dear friend, because India's foreign policy, who is India? Once you said India is having the unique dilemma. And why unique dilemma? Because on the one hand, India is major power. But what is challenges? On the one hand, India is major power, but on the other hand, we are having some challenges which is very close to developing countries. So what is the crux of the problem for India's foreign policy? India is neither like Japan, Germany and South Korea, because they are only rich. India is neither like Rwanda, Burundi and Haiti, because they are only poor. India is having the mixed population. And that is the reason once we are having a strongest strategic partnership with US, but India does not agree with US in the context of United Nations, the environment, terrorism. So we are having different opinion with United States of America and being a major power, and that is the crux of the problem. And my dear friend, we can't rely over any country. But simple see, If we are relying over any country, and next day, if imagine the fact, assume the fact that if we are wholeheartedly making a relation with US and we are leaving our evergreen partners here, and next day Trump is going to having good partnership with Russia, then what will happen to India? मेरे बच्चों, अगर हम किसी कुछ इसलिए छोड़ दें कि किसी और को पाना है, तो वही मैं छोड़ के भाग गया तो therefore in foreign policy relations are very pragmatic. So therefore what is we are having? A kind of multi-alignment. For major power, you must adopt the idea of multi-alignment. For neighborhood, neighborhood first. And almost, see, once we are dealing with neighborhood, almost everything is intact. Because what is our option? Our option is very much, see, same for almost every neighboring countries except China. And see, it is a Ashu asks what is geopolitics. Geopolitics simply, Ashu, how geographical factor determine the politics. And what geographical factor? Size of a country, location of country, everything. Just like it is a Himalayas which is determining India's foreign policy because of China. Is Indian Ocean determining India's foreign policy because of a rising power of China, US and India. And because of Indian Ocean, India's Navy is one of the best in the Indian Ocean. And geopolitical factor, you look, even Indian Ocean is creating a natural boundary for India. But same time, it is also becoming a reason of a power struggle or a domain of power struggle. So both is positive as well as negative. Everything may not be positive only, may not be negative only. Therefore, multi-alignment. And see, as far as issues are concerned, issues means it is a, as far as issues are concerned, there may be problem for Syria, there may be problem in Palestine, there is a problem in the Ukraine. You examiner can obviously ask any problem going on in Syria, Palestine, Ukraine, and thereafter in it's Syria, Palestine, Ukraine. These are the very important problem going on the world, going on the present world. Thereafter, even how you can deal with the problem, because let us see in Syria, if you are dealing in the West Asia, the basic problem is same: ethnic factors, regional power politics, global power politics. Even if you look at the West Asian politics, you will find out more or less same factors for every problem, right from the Palestine, right from the Israel, right from the, and what is the crux of India's foreign policy? We want to make a balance. We want to make a balance. We don't want to indulge in their domestic politics. We don't want to indulge in their domestic politics. And that is Palestine. Obviously in Palestine, the same issue. We don't want to abandon Palestine, because why? It's not an issue of Palestine. It's an issue of Arabic nationalism. It's the issue of not Palestine. It's the issue of Arabic nationalism. Because we want to maintain our relation with Arabic nations too. In same time, we want to make our relation with Palestine too. So India is a big nation, so we don't want to fall in any side. Because Iran is not going to leave Pakistan for sake of India. So why India should leave US for sake of Iran? Answer is very clear. So we are very much pragmatic. In that case, Ukraine, see, let us see. And there are multiple factors behind Ukraine crisis: geopolitical, power politics. And there are multiple factors behind the Ukraine crisis. And as far as India is concerned, what India believes that there should be a peace, diplomacy, dialogue. Because if you look Ukraine crisis, US is saying that Russia has become aggressive, imperialist, expansionist. If you look from Russia's point of view, what they said that US is unnecessarily expanding the NATO, creating a kind of hegemony in the entire Europe. And therefore, US is saying Russia is responsible, Russia is saying US is responsible. And therefore, Ukraine now became the sandwich of power struggle between Russia and US. And mastermind is China. Because now China want to trap US in Ukraine. Thereafter, China can integrate Taiwan without any hard work. Because if US is scattered their power both in West Asia, then Ukraine, thereafter China, US will not have enough power to contain China as far as Taiwan crisis is concerned. But matter of the fact is that US is developed. China has already obtained the development. And what is the essence for India? India want to ensure her own interest. And that is the idea. India want to ensure her own interest. Therefore, we want to maintain balance with both. My dear friend, that's all for today. This was only exclusively for interview. And the basics I have told you. And if you are looking for any further queries, you can consult the KGS office. You can consult the KGS office, and particularly those who want to appear in interview, and I will be available there for your guidance. So thanks a lot for today. You're most welcome for watching the show. Thanks a lot.